Welcome back, everyone. It's April 29th, 2020. I'm Jerry Hall, and here are my thoughts from Costa Rica. I'm going to start this conversation off with this point right here. Meat producing plant closures. That's right. Food processors shutting down. 19 food processing plants, and that's basically meat and chicken in this context for these 19 plants, will be shutting down. Now, why is that important? Well, first and foremost, the American people as a population have been conditioned to get their food from either a grocery store or a restaurant. It's a very, very, very small percentage of the population that grows their own food or supports local farmers markets. So there will be disruptions in your supply chains, folks. You will see shortages at the store. You will see higher prices at the restaurants. You will see higher prices at the stores for things such as meat, eggs, cheese. Be prepared for that. Now, there is a solution. You don't have to play that game. Go to Facebook. Search for your local farmers in your area. If you're living in a city, there's a good chance that just outside your city, there's a robust, small, but robust farmers market network. We're getting into the growing season for most of you in the Northern Hemisphere. Good veggies and lettuces and all kinds of wonderful things are going to be harvesting and being brought to these markets. I would suggest go meet some of the farmers in your local area. Chances are there's somebody raising chickens in your area within a 15 to 20 minute drive, maybe 45 minutes if you live in a big city. You can arrange pickups. Heck, for a small, tiny fee, you may be able to arrange delivery. These small folks are not going to be under the same constraints that the Cargills and the Tyson Foods and the Smithfields are going to be under. Food for thought. Do with that information what you will. I'm going to now draw your attention to this Sam I Am video, this economic collapse. And it's, I just really like Sam. I really do. I like Sam. This particular video is a little doom and gloomy for me personally. However, he brings up some excellent points. And one that I really wanted to drive home today stems from this Western Journal commentary where they talk about a impromptu development of approximately, 250 bed hospital. So like a temporary hospital, 250 beds, so that they can handle the COVID outbreak. And this is in Texas. Now, it's wonderful that they responded to the outbreak. Was this necessary or not? That's a debate for another day. What it illustrates is something much larger than the COVID response. And it's something that dates back as long as there have been governments funding expansion. And when I say expansion, it's in context to development and infrastructure. When a government entity signs a check to a private sector company to perform a task or provide a service or produce a product, the check gets signed and handed over. And then it is 100% on the private sector company to manage those funds throughout the process. Now, we've all heard the urban legends about government contracts and the $250 hammers and, $3,000 box of nails. And that all sounds kind of ludicrous, but the truth of the matter is it's actually very true. There is a tremendous amount of mismanaged funds as it pertains to private industry companies and government contracts. Well, what's the big deal here? I don't know. I'm going to explain it to you. So this Western Journal, looking at that Houston hospital, they go into detail about the $17 million and the line item for line item budget that was approved and paid for. But when you go and look at the line items and you look at people getting paid ridiculous amounts of money relative to the service that they're providing for that money, it just makes you go, how can the people signing the checks in the government be so stupid? Well, I don't think they're stupid. I think they're ill-informed. I don't think they have the tools to do their job properly. Well, guess what blockchain does, folks? Blockchain solves that problem. The World Bank sees it. The World Bank, the first behemoth to enter the DLT space with this bond that they came up with. Now they have various bonds on the blockchain, by the way. But the point is, so they did it with bonds. I distinctly remember watching a video where a World Bank representative, and it isn't this gentleman here on the screen, I could not find it, but he went into great detail about how the World Bank was restructuring their view on how they lend money. See, the World Bank is the bank you go to if you are, say, Nicaragua, and you want to take a low interest rate loan to do a highway project. Let's say you want to put in a highway that connects your Caribbean coast to your Pacific Ocean coast, and it's for the purpose of reducing time from the ports to the various areas within your country, and saving that time will add value to the population. That's valid use of, that's a valid infrastructure project, right? It checks all the boxes. Well, the World Bank, probably more so than any other entity on the planet, has dealt with all of the countries on the planet, or 99.9% of them, and have issued loans. And in the past, seen, once they've written that check and handed over, watched funds be mismanaged. Corrupt politicians, private contractors paying themselves exorbitant wages while cutting from the very project that they were supposed to be producing. Well, what if the World Bank issued that loan to Nicaragua in the form of US bank tokens on a blockchain? Every token is traceable and trackable throughout the process. Do you believe that would deter or eliminate corrupt politicians from taking their little cutback? There's some workarounds, but I think it would be a great deterrent. It would definitely track the flow of funds from the issuer, being the World Bank, to every user of those funds, recipient of those funds throughout the process. Now, let's take that and just speculate for a second what that would look like in the United States. What would it look like for a country like the United States and its government that spends and spends and spends and spends? All the defense contractors, take that down to the state level with all of the engineering companies and construction companies that are out building bridges and redoing, resurfacing highways and all kinds of infrastructure projects. Can you imagine the ease in which the distribution of those funds could be audited throughout the process? And those corrupt, greedy little sons of guns will be flushed out. Now, sure, there'll be some end users that end up with some of those tokens that will trade some of those tokens for cash and take that cash and pay off the people they were paying off before. But I definitely think it puts some wrinkles in that whole mismanagement of funds model that's been in place for a long time. Believe me, people have been getting fat off of government contracts for a long time. I'm going to finish this thought of the day with this tweet from Jared Dillon. And it's actually quite shocking when you consider in context that 336 million people are considered United States citizens. And to think that only 13 million have an individual retirement account. If you have a Roth IRA, and there are several different kinds of IRAs, but let's take a Roth IRA as an example because it's a really good kind of IRA. It's the kind of IRA that once the money goes in, regardless of the capital appreciation, how much it grows, there is no taxation when that money comes out of the account and back to the holder. It is a wonderful retirement program. Now, Jared illustrates a point here. How hard is it to save $6,000 a year? He says it's $17 a day. You skip a few lunches. Maybe you don't give the $20 to the kid so he can buy Fortnite skins. I don't know. That's up to you. You manage your own household. Here's the point, and I guess it goes right to, this is the fundamental point. Why don't I just get to it already? Americans aren't educated in the field or area of financial literacy. We have several generations who have been conditioned to earn and spend, earn and spend. Where the silent generation, which was my mother's mother, they were conditioned as savers. Well, the current economic climate does not reward savers. Savers get crushed because inflation is just another form of taxation on a saver. But you can transition. You can get all the results of saving by becoming a smart investor. Folks, Crosby, Stills, and Nash said it. Teach your children well. Anyway, folks, those are my thoughts from Costa Rica. Until next time, Pura Vida.